Today on Investigate TV Plus, blood transfusions provide a lifeline to cancer patients, but a lack of donors has drained the supply.
We don't want to see them having to wait for the blood they need to feel better.
From lab to patient, we share insights on the importance of giving blood.
Plus, a man with substance use disorder breaks down
I lost every part of myself that mattered.
before he breaks through.
I wasn't sure what the future would hold. I wasn't sure if there would be a future.
And a woman sought revenge after a distracted driver killed her mother.
I wanted her to go to jail. I wanted them to pick her up.
Then her late mother's words uplifted her, and she opened her heart to an act of compassion.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
According to the American Cancer Society, 1 in every 2 men and 1 in every 3 women will get cancer in their lifetime. And the story you're about to hear often goes untold. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. It's about blood transfusions and how they can be a critical component of cancer treatment.
The American Red Cross says about 5 units or half the amount of blood in your body are needed every minute to help someone battling cancer. And yet, just 3% of eligible people in the U.S. actually give blood.
Reporter Heather Graff explains the need and shares one woman's full circle journey.
Teresa Tarleton has worked at the American Red Cross in Baltimore for more than 30 years. And is manager of this quality control laboratory.
And has it all been in this building?
It has.
You might say she's in the business of blood.
It's a lot of work behind it.
Teresa's job is to oversee the processing and testing of any blood products that are donated here. Her team ensuring all federal safety standards are met.
So there's so many departments that 1 unit of blood has to go through.
And because the Red Cross Blood Donation Center is in the same building as Teresa's office, she often sees firsthand where that blood is coming from. As people like Kalina O'Connor roll up their sleeves.
It only took a couple minutes out of my day and it saved someone's life, so I think it's worth it.
The employees here treat every unit of blood as special as we can.
But Teresa never expected she'd be on the receiving end of some of the very blood that comes through her lab.
When the doctor told me I had AML, acute myeloid leukemia, I was shocked. I immediately started receiving treatment, and during that time I lost a lot of blood.
Her doctor at Johns Hopkins Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center explains that's a common complication.
Not only does their cancer cause them to have low blood count, but our medicines, our chemotherapies, will also suppress the bone marrow, which is the organ that makes blood. We have to support them with blood transfusions to get them through this critical time until their own bone marrow can recover.
And so in a lot of ways, those blood transfusions are sustaining them through the course of their treatment.
Exactly.
About how many of your patients typically need that?
Most of my patients need that.
It's why cancer patients use nearly 1/4 of the nation's blood supply and about half of all platelet donations. That's more than patients fighting any other disease.
Very simply, I don't think that we would be able to treat many folks without the support and backup that blood transfusions provide. The hard part is that it's not something that most folks are thinking about until their family member receives a diagnosis of cancer.
So the American Red Cross shares that message frequently as it collects blood donations and distributes them to hospitals across the country.
One thing to remember about blood donation and blood products in general is that there's a shelf life. So every 42 days, whole blood goes bad, and every 5 days, platelet donations go bad.
Their goal is to maintain a 5-day supply of all blood types at all times, but that need isn't always met, like when the Red Cross declared its first ever blood crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic, and more recently, a national blood shortage in September of 2023, when donations were down about 25%. The concern is that any decrease could impact cancer patients at a critical time in their fight.
We don't want them waiting for the right blood product that they need to feel better. And that's why we need that constant stream of blood donors to come in, not just one time, but every time they're eligible to donate blood.
In Teresa's case, she required more than 20 platelet transfusions and 4 units of whole blood to get her through treatment, so she could then receive a bone marrow transplant from her daughter.
I got another day.
And you are now in remission.
I am now in remission.
How good does it feel to be able to say that?
A year ago, I would thought it wouldn't happen. And it has.
And when she could finally return to her job at the American Red Cross,
I was receiving platelets.
Teresa noticed the staff had hung this picture up inside the lab.
My coworkers, they supported me.
A reminder that the blood they process here can serve as a cancer patient's lifeline.
It's just amazing, and it does make a difference.
And Teresa is proof.
We appreciate every donation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it.
Reporter Heather Graff joins us now. Heather, the Red Cross has said the number of people donating blood through that organization has dropped about 40% over the last 2 decades. Do we know why?
Lee, there are several factors at play, but one of them in recent years is the fact that more and more people are working remote. Prior to the pandemic, a lot of employers would host blood drives right at their offices in partnership with the Red Cross, and so that was an easy, convenient way for folks to donate. But since so many people are working from home now, the Red Cross says it's more difficult to host those types of events and to meet donors where they are.
Heather, if someone is interested in donating blood, what do they need to know?
There are some requirements donors have to meet. For instance, to give whole blood or platelets, you have to be at least 17 years old in most states. They'll also check your iron levels and ask you about any recent travel outside the U.S. To learn more about those eligibility requirements, go to redcrossblood.org. And remember, it's not just cancer patients who depend on those donations.
Still to come, his addiction cost him his career and family.
I wasn't sure what the future would hold.
But his future wasn't totally dim.
On my worst day, there was still hope.
We take you on his journey to recovery and provide insight to help others navigate a path to sobriety. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download.
A 2021 study by the federal government found 8 million people 12 and older had substance use disorder, and 94% of those people did not receive any treatment.
We will give you insight into addiction and recovery coming up. But first, a man who seemed to have it all, lost everything to drug and alcohol use. Reporter Ann Emmerich shows us how family support and treatment helped Jared Barron turn his life around.
Jared Barron was a high school superstar, a varsity athlete, a valedictorian with big dreams and a bright future.
I was high school president, class president, National Honor Society president, got through college with honors, got through law school with honors, and began to practice law and did really well.
Barron opened his own law office and started a successful career until his drinking became an addiction.
Alcohol led to drugs, and drugs brought me down. And as a result, I lost every part of myself that mattered.
The fall was hard. Family tried to help, but Jared was on a path that would leave him broke and homeless.
I wasn't sure what the future would hold. I wasn't sure if there would be a future. It's hard to imagine being where I am today. At that time, it seemed impossible.
What seemed impossible was possible, but it would take years and a lot of work to get there.
On my worst day, there was still hope. I just didn't always see it.
Jared was in and out of rehab trying to get sober. It was during that time he met Carrie, who worked in a drug treatment program. They fell in love and got married. Their first baby was on the way when Jared had a relapse and Carrie left him.
And she basically said she wasn't going to raise a child like this.
That breakup would be the catalyst for Jared's recovery.
I surrounded myself with people who knew more than I did, who were more successful than I was. We made a plan. and I stuck to it. I did a whole bunch of stuff that I really didn't want to do.
He was in a group home getting treatment when his first son was born. Jared had a job and worked hard to regain his life and his young family.
When I sought the help and received it, I had to rebuild everything. Personal, financial, emotional, social, everything. My career, and I'm still building.
Now, he's been sober for almost 10 years, and he continues to support the recovery community in many ways.
Look what the cat dragged in. Your ability to envision a greater future grows the longer you stay sober and consistently do the things you're supposed to do.
Jared and Carrie now have 2 sons. He was disbarred during his addiction and is now working to get his law license back so he can practice again. Jared also works to help others fighting to get sober. In Lansing, Michigan, I'm Ann Emmerich.
Substance use disorder is a treatable illness, but the decision to seek help isn't always easy for the person battling addiction or their loved ones.
The hardest thing in recovery is saying, I need help.
Kelly Ross works for Southlight Healthcare in Raleigh, North Carolina, and is on the front lines of the opioid epidemic. Once someone admits they have a problem, Kelly says recovery is not a quick fix. And even people with years of sobriety have to make the daily decision not to use.
Relapse is a part of recovery. I think on average, it takes people 7 times to kick the habit. The worst thing that you can do is if you have a slip or you have a relapse is to wake up and start engaging in self-doubt and self-loathing behaviors because you made this mistake.
Another major barrier to kicking the habit is stigma. Research by the National Institute on Drug Abuse found people who need treatment may not seek it because of stereotyping. Kelly wants people to know it's okay to seek help.
Asking for help is not shameful. Asking for help is probably the most courageous thing that you can do.
Still to come, the daughter of a woman killed by a distracted driver.
How do you forgive the person that killed your mom?
Is inspired to choose compassion over hate. But first, we'll show you how to be your own investigator to find the best nursing home to care for your loved one.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to InvestigateTV Plus on all social media platforms.
The U.S. Census says in 2020, 1.2 million Americans lived in nursing homes. The National Institutes of Health says that number is expected to nearly double by 2050.
In the coming years, more people, maybe even you, will be choosing a facility to care for a loved one. Reporter Josie Sturman gives you the tools to be your own investigator.
If you or someone you love needs a permanent place to live out the end of life with medical care, or a short-term facility to stay for rehab after surgery, a nursing home might be the right choice, but it can be a daunting decision. So in this Be Your Own Investigator, we'll show you some of the things we look at when it comes to these facilities. Most of these facilities are inspected and rated by the federal government. So with just your computer or your phone, you can look up a lot of things. Let's start here, Medicare.gov. Click on Find Care Providers. This will take you to Care Compare. That's where you can get a ton of details. You can see everything from health inspections to staffing levels, quality measures to fire safety inspections, and more. This tool is really user-friendly and lets you directly compare nursing homes in your community. The first step is to search an area. Let's do Charlotte, North Carolina, for example. There are more than 50 nursing homes in that area. With a quick scan, you can see all of their overall star ratings. That rating is based on the facility's health inspections, staffing levels, and a series of measures that assess specific areas of care, such as the number of residents who received a flu shot or are losing weight. The more stars a nursing home has, the better. There are also 2 other important pieces of information that can be found just glancing at this list, including a flag for abuse, which is a hand in a red octagon, and a flag for chronically underperforming facilities, which is a triangle with an exclamation point. This nursing home has been flagged for both. Here's an example of what a low rating looks like. A 1-star facility such as this one shows that it received the much below average rating because of its poor health inspections and staffing levels. You can find that by clicking on the name of the facility. Once inside that facility's page, you can read their most recent health inspections, inspections prompted by complaints filed against the facility by residents, their family members, or anybody else, and also see if there were any infection control inspections and problems. At the bottom of the health inspections page, there's also a link to click to view all of the inspection reports. This pulls up a nice chart that summarizes the nature of the violations and also lets you know how serious they are to the residents' health or safety. You can also see how many violations they had and how that compares to other nursing homes in the state, plus if they've had any fines. The page for each nursing home also includes some other important details, such as the number of beds, the name of the owner, and whether it has a resident council. With this Be Your Own Investigator, I'm Josie Sturman.
She was devastated by loss,
I was consumed with anger.
but inspired to forgive.
My mother wouldn't want her to be down on her luck.
Up next, how her mother's final words led to an act of compassion. Anti-apartheid activist Alan Patton said, "When a deep injury is done to us, we never recover until we forgive." For Stacey Green, that very deep personal injury cut her to the core in January of 2020 when a distracted driver caused a crash that killed her mother.
Following her mother's death, Stacey says thoughts of vengeance would consume her until one day she heard a recording of her late mother's voice.
Reporter Andy Parati shows us how that moment inspired Stacey to show forgiveness.
For Stacey Green, the gospel recharges her soul.
From as early as I can remember, we grew up in church.
The person who took her each Sunday, Rosie Minor, an ordained minister, a youth pastor, and a successful businesswoman once featured in Ebony magazine. But for Stacey, she was just mom.
Do a twirl.
Oh man, I can't twirl.
Oh, my mother was such a beautiful woman. She loved everything and everybody.
On November 20th, 2020,
northwest side of the intersection,
Rosie died in a car crash in DeKalb County, Georgia.
Stay with me, Mom, okay? They on their way. Stay with us.
Hit by a driver allegedly on their phone, going 73 miles per hour, nearly twice the speed limit.
This is Officer Hunt, DeKalb County Police Department.
The person who hit Rosie, Nakia Cherry, charged with vehicular homicide.
I was consumed with anger.
Shattered with grief, Stacey fell into depression, lost her job,
Are they okay?
and she was determined to see Nakia pay for killing her mother.
How do you forgive the person that killed your mom? Your best friend. How do you do it?
3 years later, she would face her mother's alleged killer in this DeKalb County courtroom, there to settle a civil lawsuit against Nakia's car insurance company. At the end of the trial, attorneys played a recording of Rosie's voice, part of a prayer line she took part in every day, recorded just hours before she died.
John in 1:16 said, "From the fullness of his grace, we have all received one blessing after another." So we have every reason in the world to be thankful every day.
At that moment, Stacey knew what needed to be done. In the hallway outside the courtroom, she approached Nakia.
So I said, I need you to know, I forgive you. I need you to know, I forgive you.
A moment that took Nakia by surprise.
She came up to me and she hugged me and she said she was gonna forgive me. For her to do that, it changed me in so many ways.
How bad did you need to hear
I really
that?
need to hear that. I still cannot forgive myself for what happened.
Why was it important for you to forgive her?
My mom was already gone. My mom's already dead. And I was walking around dead. So in order to give myself back life, I had to forgive her. It doesn't make sense to have 2 dead people.
After the accident, life got tough for Nakia and her 4 children. She lost her home, job, and car. But when Stacy heard about it, she took action, helping her with money, transportation, and even temporary housing. And Nakia has joined their church, the same sanctuary where Rosie worshiped.
I talk to her a lot every day. She helps me with my kids. When I needed food, Stacy was there. She calls, she checks on me every day. I don't really have that from many people. She's like a big sister, like a godmom.
My mom would be doing the same exact thing had she been alive today.
She'd forgive.
She would forgive. She would help her. My mother wouldn't want her to be down on her luck.
A judge sentenced Nakia to probation and community service, but at the request of Rosie's family, she received no jail time.
Nakia says she now plans to get baptized in the same church that Rosie once worshiped in. And they say forgiveness is not for the person, but for you. But it seems in this case, it was for them both.
It was definitely for them both. And what a strong, just a strong person to be able to forgive like that and then also just bring them in like that.
Very strong.
Impressive. Wow.
Well, that's going to do it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Pound.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching. On the next Investigate TV Plus,
I thought, I want to be the change I want to see in the world.
A shortage of vital drugs inspires a mother to take matters into her own hands. We reveal how it's helping families across the country.